Hello, and we are live. What is going on? Listen, I just got back in town from preaching and getting settled back into my humble abode here. And I decided to go ahead and do a response to this whole situation on social media regarding Keke Palmer and her now ex-boyfriend. I believe the brother's name is Darius or something along those lines. But anyway, I'm not gonna do a whole teaching. I'm not gonna do no whole breakdown on this topic because it's really not fully needed. However, I do feel impressed to let you guys know where we're at in the current day. And when I say let you know where we're at, I'm not even referencing that in a negative light towards Ms. Palmer. Rather, it is the brother, the young brother that she was with, and how this whole thing was handled. Um, One thing you gotta understand is that there's a season for all things. Okay, there's a time to do things. There's a time to speak up. There's a time to not speak up. There's a time to dance, a time to mourn, etc., etc. Us as believers in the faith of Christ, we understand that. However, this was just completely. It was so out of whack how this came about. Basically, for those of you that are listening that don't follow this type of stuff in the media, Miss Palmer decided to go out to a Usher concert, and there's a video of her wearing some clothes that some would consider to be revealing, and she's dancing with Usher, and the boyfriend freaks out about it on social media and begins to start talking negatively about it. My thing is, when I look at this whole situation, us as people got to understand the difference between a private matter and a public matter. I think the main reason I felt impressed by the Spirit of God to even make a response video to this whole situation is that I see many men online that are commenting and saying, "Oh, so we're really gonna make this about what Darius did and not the fact that Keke was dressing like this and dressing like that." And again, it's not even about Miss Palmer in this situation. The fact of the matter is that the brother was feeling some type of way about how she was, representing herself, and he decided to air publicly what he should have discussed with his woman privately. And this is what I'm saying. Going back to the whole we're living in a dangerous day, or this is the time we're living in regards to social media. Uh, we want to use that verbiage and throw it around. However, us as men can't be so quick to pop off and jump on social media when we have an issue with somebody. You see, we live in a day, literally speaking, where that's the more go-to reaction to do instead of having a face-to-face talk, instead of sitting down and actually hashing things out. We're quick to jump on the airwaves and try to sway or get our views approved in the court of public opinion. And that's what's wrong with this, because again, this is a personal relationship, okay, private matter in regards to it's and again, you can try to make moral arguments and moral um you know points in regards to how Kiki was dressed and all those things, but at the end of the day, everyone isn't held to your standard. All right. Even when it comes to Christendom, we have to understand everyone doesn't necessarily believe how you believe or view things how you view them. Okay. So there's a way to walk in love with people, even if you don't necessarily agree in how they're acting. That's one of the things that Christ made it clear. He said you would know that we are his disciples by our love for one another. Right. But the thing about it is, when you sitting here supposed to be with a woman that you claim you love, and you claim you respect, but you're airing out or dragging her publicly on social media for something she did or what have you. You're not walking in love, man, especially if this was not something that was talked about in private. Now, again, given the way the situation was handled, it's not much of a scapegoat you can give them, because even if you want to use the argument and say, well, we don't know what they discussed in private, the very fact that he was so butthurt to go on social media and say what he said instead of talking to her or calling her in that moment shows that it just comes off as being very distasteful. All right. And again, a guy who is, for one, a leader, who's confident, who understands the value of his partner, isn't going to act like that. And that's what I don't want this generation of men to do or to keep doing. We live in a day now where, and really what it is, you got a whole bunch of pretty boys out there who feel like the world just owes them so much. And it's almost as if the value system that we've had in the days of old, it is being eroded. Okay. I will say that it's being eroded. And the fact of the matter is that you have a bunch of men out here nowadays that don't know how to handle that in their homes. So instead of having a talk with their spouse or their partner about relationship expectations and things of that nature, instead of doing the things that men used to do back in the day when they were courting a young lady, they now want to come on social media and air it out and say, well, see, though, this ain't right. You shouldn't be doing this, et cetera, et cetera. Those things do not show, they don't show alpha melanis. The fact that you can articulate and logically break down where a woman is flawed, or the fact that you can break down a person's negative attributes does not make you alpha as a guy. What makes you alpha as a guy is walking, for one, in confidence, as well as being able to respect the person who you're with and knowing that, hey, man, if I'm with you, I'm with you, and this is how we're moving. But again, when you are walking in your purpose, walking in your, I like to call it, just walking in your walking in your knowing, you're not going to be so quick to lash out especially on the person that you consider to be your partner in life. You're gonna try to talk these things through, and if you can't come to a resolution after talking, then yeah, it's time to part ways. However, what you don't do is throw your partner under the bus, because that's just not cool. It's not cool at all. I mean, the way that he began to defend even uh, his initial posting of, shaming his girlfriend at the time, Miss Palmer, was just very distasteful. But again, the reason why I'm even talking about it isn't necessarily to just shame him, but it is also to combat what I'm seeing on the airwaves in regards to a bunch of men thinking that that's okay to do. And I'm telling you right now, if you want to have healthy relationships with the opposite gender, you cannot be okay with airing out your significant other's flaws on social media before having a discussion with them in private. Because at the end of the day, it's no one's business what goes on in your personal home. A lot of people don't understand that nowadays. Because of social media, we want to be quick to, go live, make a Facebook post. Facebook is not the jury, okay? Facebook is not the court of law, all right? You don't win arguments or discussions in the court of opinion, especially arguments or discussions in your personal relationship, by going to Facebook. All right. Now I know some people that, again, this is hard because I'm really going on I'm really going in towards the actions of what the brother did, as well as the actions of the men. And the reason why I'm doing it isn't because I'm a weak beta simp dude that's following women and all that. It ain't got nothing to do with that. What it is that I'm tired of seeing a lot of young brothers out here whining, complaining, being so negative on the internet, being so negative in their interactions, in their relationship interactions with people, without fully just embracing who they are and walking in their purpose at all times. And here it is, when you're walking in your purpose, when you're walking in your swag, so to speak, your partner, your spouse, you guys, you're on the same level, meaning that you understand what each of your expectations are. And even then, it doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect, but what's going to happen is that first and foremost, you have each other's back. So what Mr. Darius did, in my opinion, and again, I say this coming from a background where I share those moral values, right? The values of modesty and things of that nature in regards to, um, you know, your spouse. I was raised in a home that expressed those values, so I understand that point. However, I also understand the season. All right. I understand the difference between the seasons that you're in. And going back to my point earlier, everyone wasn't raised with those values. But nevertheless, I understand the season and the time for things. What that man did to his lady in that point, at that point, his lady at that point, that wasn't the time. That wasn't the time for that, man. It wasn't the time to sit here and air out your girl like that. And, you could say, oh, well, she was disrespecting me by posting a video. Well, then again, you call her. I mean, you expect me to believe that if you're this girl's boyfriend, you didn't know she was going to the concert? Come on, man. You didn't know she was gonna turn up that night. She didn't send you a picture of what she had on or anything. Not, and again, let me be very clear when I bring up the whole aspect of the sending him a picture. I'm not necessarily saying that she should or any woman should do that in regards to get approval from a man, to wear a certain dress and then like that. But the point I'm trying to make is that these two are in an exclusive relationship. Okay, they have decided they're going to be, by their title, boyfriend and girlfriend. That's exclusivity. All right. And so with that comes the aspects of being together, being partners, even if, and you're communicating, that line of communication is open a lot more between you two than it's going to be towards some other individual, a person who's a friend, even. Like, you guys are supposed to be together. So, it shouldn't be an issue for her to say, hey, I'm going out to do this and do that. And then at the same time, she's sending you a photo of the outfit, and again, it's not baby, let me see what you're wearing type thing. It's more or less like, I'm getting ready to go out to this quote unquote event and I'm dressed up, and all those things. So again, these are principles that should not throw us off guard as modern day men, because even though those that hold to an excellent moral, or a strong moral value system, rather, even though we hold to those things, we shouldn't let them discourage us, um, from we shouldn't let the fact that the modern day woman, or man, even, because in some cases some men don't hold to those values. We shouldn't let that discourage us from walking in our truths, or not even being able to have a conversation about it. Some guys, going back to my point earlier that I was talking about in regards to pretty boys and how they think, it's almost as if when it comes to women, they feel as if the world, that it should be given to them, and they shouldn't have to explain anything to women. Women should just know this and know that. But at the end of the day, no one knows everything. So sometimes it's going to take you having to have a conversation to communicate. America, we have the highest divorce rates in the world, especially Well, if we want to go deeper, since we want to talk about moral issues, Christians have the highest divorce rates in the country. So why is that? Why are these things happening? If we're supposed to follow the quote unquote example of Christ, how is it that we have these things? And again, I'm not shaming anyone that has gone through a divorce or anything like that. But what I am doing is wanting to amplify the sure fact that, man, you got to walk differently with the person that you are doing life with. Okay, they gotta have a direct access, a direct line of communication to you, a direct understanding of your expectations. Otherwise, the relationship is gonna fail. Okay, but see, when you get all in your feelings and start going to social media to post and to express your grievances instead of talking about it privately, then that therein lies the problem. Okay, so for these people, again, making videos slandering Miss Palmer, because despite what you or I think about what she had on, she's a grown woman. Okay, a grown woman. All right, I remember watching her in her some of her movies and things of that nature back in the day. But now she's grown. She got kids. She's doing good for herself. Seem like she grown. And so, again, it's not my business or anyone's business for that matter what goes on in her house and in her relationship. I understand she's a public figure. So, because her man expressed what should have been expressed in private to the public, that's why we are talking about it. However, it's none of our business, and that's the thing. You'll do well in life to mind your own business, to worry about what goes on in your own home. And that's what I want to encourage the young brothers that are listening to do. Don't worry about what this woman and that woman is doing and all the modern day. I hear it all, man. And again, I'm not saying that we don't have real relationship problems in the modern day when it comes to relationships with the opposite gender and things of that nature. I'm not saying that there aren't issues, but what I am saying is that on the man's end, us sitting here and whining and talking on social media about these things, as opposed to talking to the one that we're supposed to be with, that's not the move, man. That's not the move. Because if I'm being very blunt, okay, and this don't got nothing to do with you being no pretty boy or what have you. Because see, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we're not all mind readers, you know. and at the end of the day, what we have to understand is that the reason why this situation is so bad to begin with is because you're expressing a grievance you have with your significant other on a public platform without, according, with the way your post came off, without talking to them in private about it. Okay, and that shows a lack of leadership. If I'm being honest with you, it also shows a lack of cojones. Okay, it shows that you don't have the confidence nor the articulation to discuss with your partner in private what you are verbally lashing out about publicly. That is something that is known, to be of weaker character. That's a weaker nature, I would say. That's not the role a man should be playing in modern day. We don't need men acting like that. All right, like we're not, and especially as Christians, we can't sit here and begin to make whole videos about how Miss Palmer was dressed at this function, because she may not even be a Christian, and to be honest with you, it's so ironic because this young brother she was with apparently put up videos before on his private page of her twerking and things of that nature. And you know, I guess it wasn't an issue then, But the fact that she went out and started dancing with another guy, that guy being another known celebrity as well, um, not now you got a problem. Well, if you ask me, that's a little bit of an unbalanced scale as well, because regardless of her doing what she did, this was still not the way for him to handle it. You don't lash out in public. You text her or you call her and say, "Hey, babe, you know, I see you having fun, but I think we need to talk about expectations a little bit better in regards to our relationship, and and just kind of build from there. Because if it bothered you that much, you should have expressed something before she left to begin with. You know, I mean, she going to go see Usher, and being a high celebrity profile person like that, she's gonna have access to the good seating, and um, you know, for all I know, she probably could have had a friendship with Usher prior to even knowing this dude. However, you want to get upset and bring out to the forefront an issue you have in your relationship for the world to see and for the world to talk about, because, and here it is, it's popular in modern day for man to do this. It's popular in modern day for men to bring out the issues and the problems that they have with women. It's popular for them to make podcasts, for them to listen to people that talk about what they're doing wrong. It's popular over the airways to say and to do, but the unpopular thing to do is to stand on your own 10 as a man and handle your business in your own private, personal relationship. What's unpopular to do is to actually have those conversations with your significant other, to let them know, hey, this is what it is, and these are my boundaries type thing. What's unpopular is also respecting your boundaries enough to walk away, as opposed to just doing the easy punk route, making a little fuss like a baby on social media. I had a man tell me today, a man who I respect. He was talking to me about how recently there was a political figure that he's aware of that had a grievance with one of his family members, and he expressed on social media that and again, he said this from his public page. This guy, he's a known political figure, and he's saying it from his public page. He's talking to his family member that he has a grievance with, and he just responds to him on a public forum and says, well, we could go ahead and handle this behind the we can go outside and just handle this outside of the court system, outside of the political realm. We could just go ahead and duke this thing out like back in the old days. And so, realizing that, you know, that's not what he should have said, came back. And this is why I can give this dude a lot more credit than Mr. Darius right now, because to my knowledge, he hasn't gone on record to apologize for what he did. But this other guy, this political figure, ended up he ended up expressing that message was sent out without his consent, meaning that it was sent out on his behalf without him knowing. Therefore, he was apologizing for the quote unquote mix up. So it wasn't a full on apology in a sense. And who knows, it probably wasn't even a true statement made by him in that apology. However, he still sought to rectify what it is he had put out, and what he had said, because one thing you don't do, even when it comes to family, is air out private business, private personal matters on a public platform, because it's no one's business. It's not our business what's going on in that house. I mean, yeah, it can create for some funny moments. It can create for some conflict. People love conflict, right? So it can create for entertainment even to us. But at the end of the day, it's not our business. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about nothing that doesn't concern you. Okay. This whole situation should not be used to amplify a bigger question or conversation we need to have in the world about modernism and how women should be dressing and things. It should not be used for any of that, because at the end of the day, this wasn't our business to begin with. Okay. And I'm just about done talking about this, but I just really want to get this out because I know that there are young, impressionable minds that are hearing a lot of this dogma now, and they're internalizing it, and it's messing up how they interact with the opposite gender, and it shouldn't be. Okay, it shouldn't be an issue. But I will also acknowledge that there are a lot of things in regards to how the modern day genders are treating each other that in some phases are different than our previous generation of parents and things of that nature. However, these are things that have to be discussed because each and every person is a unique individual. And so in your relationship, you have to be able to communicate in a healthy manner your boundaries and expectations, because it doesn't matter how, pretty you are. It doesn't matter, what you think a person may know or not know because the color of their skin or what have you. You still need to talk. You need to talk. What type of relationship? See, and that's even the thing with us. God, he wants us to pray to him. Christ, he wants us to have daily communication with the Father. All right. But what we look like expecting all this stuff from God, and we ain't in fellowship with him. It doesn't make any sense. It's an unbalanced scale. This whole thing with the way the criticism was brought about is an unbalanced scale, especially if you want to make a moral argument after exposing your quote unquote significant other on your own social media page, twerking and revealing clothes and things of that nature. Like that's an unbalanced scale, man. And I get at the end of the day, you know, hey, you may have an issue with her dancing uh, on another man and everything like that, but once again, you knew where she was going. There's no doubt in my mind that he did, because otherwise, you know, the dynamics of their relationship in regards to communication, and I don't know how long they've been dating, but yeah, in regards to communication, um, if he didn't know, then yeah, it was off. Like that communication barrier was already kind of off there. But um, no, he knew because they have a child. So and they were together. So I mean, I don't doubt that he knew what was going on. And even if he did not know, that still does not give him an excuse to act the way he did and publicly shame her for doing what he did not communicate wasn't cool with him. Now, also, if he wanted to communicate to her that hey, this ain't right, type thing, um, and did that privately, and then they parted ways privately because she didn't see anything wrong with it. Because again, from her perspective, she looking at it like, well, man, I'm at the concert. I'm here having a good time, and Usher, they may be friends or whatever, but they literally just in the moment, you know. And I'm not saying that every guy should be okay with that. I'm not saying that guys should expect their women to do that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is that you got to understand the season for things, and so it's my understanding as well that Ms. Palmer is a um, more notable figure than him. So she's going to be talking to certain people, having access to certain people that he may not necessarily have access to. And so, with that, you have to understand that, there may be certain moments that get more highlighted than others. And if you can't take that, then you shouldn't be with them. Period. It's not like, oh man, what was me? See, this the thing. If you solid as a dude and you walk in your purpose and you feel like you feel confident in what you bring to the table, man, you ain't even worried about after you communicate your boundaries, you're not even worried about whether this person is going to accept them or not, because even though you may have feelings for that person, you understand that your life will go on with or without them. You see, at the end of the day, when you and I die, we gonna take that bid alone. It ain't nobody else is dying for me. Christ did, but outside of that, nobody else is dying for you. Okay, that's a road you got to walk alone, meaning you're your own individual person. All right, which means you should also value your life. Now, it doesn't mean that you should allow a person to treat you any kind of way or disrespect you in any kind of way. But again, when you communicate what you will tolerate and will not tolerate in a relationship, and those things are honored or not honored, then the next appropriate course of action on your end should be to be okay with walking away. If that's what I need to do to not violate my boundary, because at the end of the day, it ain't even about status. It's about my respect. I want my respect. And so, and everyone's entitled to that, to have their respect as an individual. But the problem is that when you are trying to be dogmatic about it and overbearing about it, you're not getting your point across. And that's what a lot of these people are doing when they get on social media, ranting and saying what the woman should be doing and the problem with modern day woman, and all these people that trying to show that they so quote unquote alpha. It comes off as try hard, bro. You're not being a man. You're not leading. You're not walking in the swag and the dominance that you're supposed to be walking in. See, it's not, it's an aura about you that you have to have. You gotta walk in that aura. Forget all the little compliments you got as a kid, or whatever. Forget all the little compliments even you may get from other women, especially you pretty boys out there. The guys that got the quote unquote model looks. Even though beauty can be subjective, it's you have an objective standard as well when it comes to um, you know market quality and look quality and things of that nature. At least in the context of America, the scale of beauty or what have you. But again, you can't rely on none of that, man. Like, you still got to be a man at the end of the day, because everyone isn't going to like you. All right, every girl is not going to be attracted to you. Every guy isn't going to be attracted to you. You're just not going to be that person's cup of tea. And the ones that you are attracted to, and the ones that are attracted to you, when y'all do connect, you better make sure your lives are in line. Otherwise, the home that you both are going to be in is going to be as close to a living hell as possible. Because one of the most important decisions you can make in life is to determine who you will be with, who you will marry, who you will spend the rest of your time with. That is the most important decision you could ever make. And so you better make sure that you both communicate in a respectful, healthy manner, your boundaries and expectations in that relationship. And you better also be able to be okay with the fact that, if because you're not perfect, if you do something that may offend this person, or what have you, or they may be doing something that offends you, you better be okay with the fact that this may not this may not change overnight. Because you don't go into a relationship changing the person. You got to accept them for who they are. And so if you can't accept that person for who they are, you need to walk away. And again, I know kids are involved, and I understand that especially in Christendom, people have issues with that because they feel like, well, you're divorcing. People talk about divorce and stuff like that in Christendom, and I'm not an advocate for divorce, but what I'm saying is that you got to be able as people to communicate healthily, and if you can't do that, then you need to walk away because the over of cert the over usurping of power and authority does no one good. Okay, it doesn't do you any good. It may make you feel like, oh yeah, I'm the man or whatever, mentally, or I don't know. It may do that, but at the end of the day, the home is miserable. People can't stand each other. All right, being very blunt, probably ain't as much intimacy going on when you're arguing because you just it's just not there. You hate each other, right? And so you got to understand, if you're gonna do anything in life in regards to being connected to the opposite uh, gender, to your spouse or your partner, you have to remember that this person is not only an individual with their own feelings and emotions and boundaries and things of that nature, but when you decide to become exclusive, you are essentially saying that this is going to be the person that you communicate the most with. This is the person you are locking in with. You two are in the process of becoming one. And the only reason why I say the process is because, if you're a boyfriend girlfriend thing, there's still some time there to get out of it. However, you are becoming one, and you better be make sure that you want to become the one with the person that you're with. Otherwise, you will live to regret it, guaranteed. Which again, Darius may very well be doing that, and I don't want to just drag him um, on this broadcast. I'm literally about done, but I just wanted to take this moment and use it as a teaching moment because these are mental issues that we are having as men in modern day society that if we don't correct, man, it's going to get even worse than what it is. All right. Because dudes, dudes are borderline becoming mentally psychotic in regards to not being able to communicate or articulate in a healthy manner with the opposite spouse. It's like because they're internalizing it too much. They feel like, oh, it's something wrong with me, or AKA something is wrong with them. So I'm gonna make them get with the program, or it's just you can't be like that. You can't be like that at all. You can't be worried about nobody who ain't worried about you. All right. That's one of the golden rules in life. And focus on your own lane instead of worrying about someone else's. All right. So, again, every now and again, I feel prompted to give these unpopular opinions. And I'm going to definitely share this one and repost it and things of that nature because I want there to be a balanced scale here. All right. It seems like in today's modern day society, especially in the media in general, the scales are just so unbalanced. It's ridiculous. Like people just say whatever, do whatever, and folks just run with a whole bunch of silliness. But yeah, this situation from the get go should not have been aired out initially on social media because it was a private matter of discussion. And again, I get it. You may say, well, she's grown, I'm grown. This isn't our first rodeo. She should understand this. She should understand that. Well, at the end of the day, you're two different people that have different experiences. And you, as the man, a man who, in this context, wants to be looked at as the leader in your relationship, the head of your relationship. In this context, you want to be looked at that way. So you have to be willing to put in the work. It don't just come to you because you're a quote unquote man. A lot of men feel as if I work out, if I put in the effort to get rich, be financially stable. If I put in the time to do that, the woman should come to me and do whatever I say and move how I move and things of that nature. But that's not how the game go. You still have to put in the work as a man. Put in the work, and the woman, she's putting in the work as well. It has to be a balanced scale there. It doesn't just fall into your lap. All right. So get that mess out of your thinking. Get that out of your psyche because it's not healthy at all. All right. So listen, that's all I'm gonna say on this topic today. But be encouraged if anyone's believing for a healthy relationship. Um, you know, be encouraged. It is possible, but you ain't gonna get it by watching these TikTok videos. You ain't gonna get it by watching Fresh and Fit. You ain't gonna get it by watching what's the other guy? Um, Even though he says some things um, that aren't all bad, but a lot of times when you're overbearing in relationships, advice, it can be very toxic and unhealthy to understand. So, you're not gonna be able to get all of that even with an Andrew Tate. So you got to be able to communicate appropriately to see the desired outcome you want to see in your relationships. That's one thing I do know about healthy relationship dynamics. All right. Well, listen, um, like I said, I literally just got back home from preaching, uh, traveling up and down this road. I'm going to call it a night, share this broadcast with somebody, but, and I'm assuming by me even talking about this broadcast, this unpopular opinion, it's kind of like an overflow of me still being in that teaching moment, teaching phase. But I love you. I'm praying for you. Till next time we talk, understand that you are on the mind of God, no matter who you are, where you are, color of your skin, a Christian, actively engaged in the church or not. You are on the mind of God, and His thoughts towards you are good thoughts and not evil ones. God bless you.